Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Today we're with Brian from Privada Cigar Club, and we're talking about the club, how it started, where it's going. So Brian, how did you start the club?
Privada Cigar Club started because I was a sneakerhead who was reaching an age, I think I was about 35-ish, and I was like, just felt like, not that it was becoming immature, it was just like I was moving around a lot, I was changing the way that I dressed a little bit, and I had like 40, 50 pairs of sneakers with me, and I just was like kind of done with it, and I was looking to channel that, limited edition collecting kind of mentality somewhere, and I just happened to be living in Tampa at the time, which is like you can't walk, 3 feet without someone putting a cigar in your mouth, and forcefully, and so and I worked from home. I had started my business. I already had a business that, being a broker and working from home with auto transport, and so I was always looking to get out of the house. I lived alone, so I would go to like cigar lounges during the day, and I'd hang out. And then I was at Tampa Humidor, and this dude named Brian, who used to be a rep for Oliva, was like covering some shifts there, and he was like, "Oh, I think you would like these," and he showed me like Las Calaveras 2014. He showed me the Monster Series Tatuaje, and I just kind of was like, oh yeah, this is it. And I had it in my head. I really believed that these things were going to be worth a lot of money one day. I don't know why. I swore that like the prices were going to at least double. So I was like, oh man, if I have a 2014, Las Calaveras in 2019, like it's going to be worth like double. And that's not quite true. I mean, there are some of us that are willing to pay those prices. I know I am, but like, it never quite turned out that way. But the limited edition thing obviously is something that we're all interested in. So that's basically how it got started. And from there, I collected so many cigars, and I was flipping a house with my wife in Pennsylvania, and this house was 6,000 square feet. It was beautiful. It's on a farm and everything. In fact, I did a video called How to Smoke a Cigar, and you can see the background. It looks fake. Like it was so beautiful. It was a rainy day, and you can see like the farm behind us and everything. And so I had like a whole room full of cigars at this point. I was just collecting like crazy. And so we got pregnant, and my wife was like, we should move to LA to be close to my family because her family is very tight knit. It'll be a lot of help, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do with all these cigars? So I started trying to sell them, and people didn't want to give me what they were even worth. And so I was disappointed with that, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to create something that puts my, value on these items into it. And if they're not going to pay full price for the cigar, at least they're going to get the appreciation for what that cigar is, and that's where the writing started. Okay, because I wanted you to know, don't just smoke this cigar. Know that I aged this myself for 5 years. It's from this guy who made this, and this is why he made it, and it's limited because he only puts it out once a year and does the, that kind of thing. So that's how Privada Cigar Club started.
So the club really relies heavily on connections within the industry.
Yeah.
How did you build those connections over time?
I think that the passion that I had put into the writing, and the few people that joined the club in the beginning, like, I don't know, man. It was a void. There was a void, obviously, and we filled this void. Like, I've never seen anything happen. I've tried to start many businesses. I was a musician. I've tried to do a million different things, and this was just like, as soon as people found out about it, they're like, oh, yes, no, I've been looking for something like this. And it's created this whole movement of like amazing people that really care about this craft. And like, I'm calling it the cigar renaissance. I think that we're, bringing this craft culture into cigars, or shining a light on it and making it cool.
Okay, so you handed us a cigar.
Yeah.
I want to light it, but
Yeah.
I want you to tell me what it is.
So this is a test blend. It's a Connecticut Lancero. It's from Hochi Blanco. He made the Uncle Paulie for us.
Okay.
He does a lot of things for a lot of people. He just did a project with AJ Fernandez, San Latano Dominicano, which is getting rave reviews. And He also made something else for us. I'm forgetting, and he's definitely making a lot for us in the future. Like I have a couple of, I know one for sure, which I'm kind of doing a Back to the Future thing with. So, not the program, the movie, because we had this thing called Back to the Future, and we'll still do it again. I just haven't had time to focus on it. Back to the Future is where, let's say I get Padilla Miami 8 and 11 from 2014. Okay, and I have enough of them to sell. And then I get Padilla Miami 8 and 11 from 2019, and I sell them together. And it's like Back to the Future. Like you get to smoke the original, and then you get to smoke the current one and see what the aging did to it, see what a different factory might have, taken on it. Like so that's what I'm saying. Like because a lot of these guys are gonna be like, oh, he's doing a back-to-back series, but it's not. I'm just gonna Back to the Future series, but I'm naming it after one of the characters in Back to the Future, so it'll be fun.
I love that because in one of the packages I got from you recently, you sent me an aged cigar. I think it was aged maybe 3 or 4 years, and I had the week before had just bought in the current release of that same cigar.
Wow.
So I have, and they're both still in my humidor. I haven't smoked either of them, and they're next to each other. I got the aged one from you, and then just the regular 2019 or 20
Love
one.
that.
And I'm excited because I want to smoke them both the same day.
Sure.
And
yeah.
see, what the difference is.
Yeah, I mean, give it a couple hours between cigars, and I always tell people that, and that's very important to me. I know a lot of the people, they get their pack, they just rip it open and start smoking cigars, and that's cool. You do with it what you want. I'm not telling you how to smoke your cigars, but I put a lot of time and energy into it, and I would just appreciate if you read the notes while you smoke the cigar, and also if you make it at least you haven't smoked a cigar in the last 3 hours, let's say.
Okay.
I prefer it to be the first cigar of your day, just so you can really truly get all those nuances on a cleansed palate, But again, you guys do whatever you want with it. So.
And the packaging is actually really impressive with the sealed bag and the humipack in there, and they actually come in really good shape.
Well, okay, so that's something all into itself, because basically what happened was the first time.
Nope.
Yeah, I'll give you a letter. First time that we did an unboxing. Okay, Rob Gagne unboxed it on Boveda. Okay, and
Appreciate it.
and so we saw it and we were like, cool, this is great. Then he unboxed another club. I'm not going to plug any other clubs. There's room for all of us. I'm not going to plug them. He unboxed another club, and my wife and I watched it, and we're like, oh my God, their packaging is so much nicer than ours. Like, it was incredible. But I was like, that's not what this is about. This is about what's inside. And as long as our bag is keeping them fresh, ready to smoke, I'm happy. Like, I'd rather be the minimalist. You know what I mean? But I remember feeling a little insecure when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, it's so much nicer than ours. They had different colored bags, and their logo was printed. We didn't have the logo, and I was stamping them by hand. I had to stamp, yeah, and these wax bags, the stamp doesn't really stay, it like smudges and stuff, so it looked terrible. But yeah, no, but the actual packaging, what you're talking about is the functionality of it. It functions better than anything else on the market, and that's also part of the reason why Privada is doing what it does, because our cigar, I truly believe that we get the best cigars in the industry, hands down. I'm dedicated. I have the job of finding the most unique, rare, best tasting cigars that I can get my hands on. That's my job. And so when you make that your job, I don't think there's anyone else in the industry that can say that that's their job. Their job may be to make their brand amazing, but I don't know that there's anyone out there whose job it is to go out and just find the best cigars that are out there and try to get them made for their market.
See, but I love the part where you say, you hand stamped those packages. I grew up in the age of Etsy, where you want the hand detail, you want the personalization. People want the connection between these cigars and your notes and seeing you on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's all the personal, small company feel.
I guess I'm gonna have to go back to hand stamping.
There's a lot more work.
Yeah, forget the cigars,
No.
but the
But I'm saying
package.
even
No,
that,
I get it.
your personal touch and
You're
smoking the
putting
cigars.
part of you into what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that these boutique cigar makers are doing. there's a fine line between getting too big and mass producing. And that's something that I've always been very, very careful of. Oh, we're going to cap this as soon as it gets to a certain point. I think we're approaching that point soon. I just don't know what soon means. The minute that I can't get rare stuff or that won't happen. But the minute that I feel like we're losing that personal touch, the service isn't one-on-one. Like, these people email me all day long. That's the other part of my job, which is emails.
How much time do you spend interacting, whether it be social media or emails? How much time is devoted just to interaction with your club members?
It's pretty good. 3 to 4 hours a day. That's for emails mostly.
And as the club grows, how do you see the culture of the club evolving?
Well, once this thing became real and we had 1,000 members, I was like, oh no, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create this renaissance. We're going to create what happened in craft beer, what happened in beer over the last 15 years. We're going to do that in cigars, and we're going to give the little guys a voice. We're going to make sure that people know who the real best cigar manufacturers are out there, and tell their stories. Because it's important. You could smoke this cigar, you don't have a story with it, but if I gave you a great story on it, who Ho Chi is, that he's third generation tobacco farmer, and he's like a master blender, and he's like the guy in the Dominican Republic, then it starts to take on a different meaning to you.
So
I try not to think about that though when I do the test blends.
Of
The
who
cigars,
blended it?
yeah, I try not to think about any of it. You can try not to. I mean, certain things you're gonna know. I know it comes from Ho Chi, but I'm very, very, picky is the word.
Well, I think that's the cool thing about your farm rolled stuff, that it doesn't have the band, and you can't walk in with the
Prejudice,
the
prejudiced
prejudice ahead of
right.
time. You may not like this brand, but if someone gives it to you without the label on, you don't tell them what it is, they could be like, this is the best cigar I ever had, and suddenly a brand you've been Xing off of your list for years is now a brand you're open to trying again.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Farm rolled is very special to me for a number of reasons, but I think the thing that makes it even most special is that I didn't realize what the smoking experience was going to be like without the bands. And it's made me enjoy cigars more. Because it's great to have these 3 special rare cigars every month that are storied and, were really sought after or whatever. But then it's also great to just get an appreciation for smoking a cigar and be able to start to use all the things that I've learned from doing the club for so long in just smoking blank cigars, And a lot of the stuff in farm rolled is something that's already out. And you're right, I would never pick up those cigars.
Mm-hmm.
I would never. It's just not me. I'm Brian from Privada. Like, I'm going for that limited, hype shit, and I'm smoking it. I'm like, wow, that's really good. This one's okay. That one's great,
Yeah.
And so there's a few people, that I've picked up on that I can't mention because some of these companies won't allow me to mention where they, you'll see some undisclosed stuff for the factory, which is totally understandable. I mean, if you're selling a product for $10 on the shelves with a band on it, you probably shouldn't be able to get it in my pack for $5.
Yeah.
But everyone has needs. They have a business. They have things that they make too much of. They have things that didn't sell the way they thought it would because there's that preconceived notion,
So the club is spun off into all the other projects like the farm rolled and spirited smoke, and now you're diving into brick and mortar distribution. Did you see all these little spin-off projects happening, and how are they evolving?
No, but I will say this. I knew it wouldn't just, maybe I didn't know this, but knowing myself and knowing that I had all this energy to give. I mean, if you look at all of the businesses that I've been involved with, they're all things that I've put passion into. Even auto transport, I tried to change that game. Before I was in auto transport, no one told you that they were brokers, And so you would think that you hired a trucking company to actually come pick up your car on a certain date. So I was one of the first people in that industry to tell you, no, we're all, the guy who you just spoke to, that claimed he's picking your card. He has no idea if it's getting picked up Friday at 8 o'clock. Okay, we're all brokers. This is how it works. And so, of course, I lost a lot of business like that, but eventually everyone caught on and they started telling people, yeah, we're all brokers. Like, it is what it is, you know? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, knowing myself now, like, the minute that something really took off, like I tried to do a bunch of amazing things in auto transport, nothing took off. I tried to do a bunch of amazing things in music, nothing took off. I knew that the second something took off, that it would just give me more energy and passion to like put into, okay, what can we turn this into? And so spirited smoke, I think, is extremely necessary if we're going to create this renaissance and this movement in cigars, because the guy sitting at home collecting cigars, right now his wife looks at it and is like, ugh, the smoke, the ashes, go with your guy friends. And it is what it is, right? But they're going to catch him watching the show. They're like, oh, this is cool. Because there's other things, there's spirits involved now, right? I'm into spirits. I like wine, I like coffee, and they're going to start to watch it with them. And then all of a sudden, like, a lot of these people's partners are starting to be like, I'll try a cigar. And I get that email like at least once or twice a month. Hey, my wife tried a cigar last week, gave her like an acid or something silly like, yeah, start. Right. Definitely not starting her on Privada Cigars, right? But yeah, so I knew that was like necessary, and it was a calling card for our movement. I also, one of the big reasons why I did that is because cigar companies are notoriously very, very frugal with their marketing budgets. They won't do it unless everyone else is doing it. And I knew not everyone else was going to do it right now, right? I'm not going to be, cigar aficionado full page ad, like people will put money into that, or they'll put money into other online, advertising that really, honestly, I've done it all except for the cigar aficionado. And like I've been mentioned, and I don't know, I don't want to talk about that, but what I want to say is, like, when you put your brand in Privada, you know about it. Overnight, you see major 20, 30, 40% in sales go up. So I wanted to try to get the spirit companies money, because they will spend money on marketing. And I knew that if we tied what goes with cigars, liquor, 90% of the time, liquor or coffee, Some people don't drink, and that's great. Smokey was here, he doesn't drink alcohol, But I knew that most cigar smokers drink spirits. So this is an amazing way for a spirit company to be able to access a certain type of drinker. You know what I mean? And so I figured it would be something that could pay for itself eventually, or maybe even make money by having liquor companies sponsor, spirit companies sponsor this television show or web series, whatever you want to call it. We're trying to get it put on Netflix. Like, I'm trying to go ham with this thing. Like why? Cigars are culinary. Cigars and spirits are culinary. So why, if there's diners, drive-ins, and dives in every other cooking channel in the world, why isn't there a guy going around trying different spirits at all the distilleries and breweries that are keeping this country alive with a cigar in his hand, or her hand?
Yeah.
You have such a community with Privada. Have you ever thought, and it's everybody, like if you're a Privada, you probably signed up because you saw somebody have a cigar that you wanted. I know we signed up with it because we got FOMO of what other people were getting. Have you ever considered doing a Privada?
FOMO's the worst, isn't it? I hate FOMO so much. I hate it. Everyone goes through it. With social media, you're bound to have FOMO, and that's why some people think social media is the worst thing ever, because it creates this, no matter how great your life is, you want something else that someone else has.
But you created, people get FOMO of seeing things in your packages and they want to sign up because of it. But is there ever a Privada members only event in the future that you thought of?
I mean, right now, no. Whoa. We were thinking about it. I'm a little bit, I'm definitely a homebody. Being quarantined hasn't really changed my life that much, other than it's given me a little bit of FOMO in regards to, well, now I can't even go out to a restaurant. 90% of the time when I go, like, once I got married, and it's a terrible way to be, but once I got married, I was like, what are we going out for? I found you. Like, that's why I was going out. I was going out to find a partner. And, right. So let's cook here. But but in order to, you know, I know my wife really enjoys going out, and I do too. Don't get me wrong, you know, here and there. But so I go out to restaurants basically to make my wife happy. And it's funny because I'm such an old man already. Like, I like to go to the same place over and over. And what do I get when we go? The same thing over and over. It's like, you just can't. Getting old is inevitable. Like, there's certain things that aren't going to change. What's the guy's name from Microsoft? Not Steve Jobs. Bill Gates. He does say this, though. The moment you really get old is the moment you stop learning. And so I think that's pretty cool. I kind of live by that. Like, I'm always trying to learn things, you know,
If
read.
you always eat the same thing and go to the same place, do you have a cigar that you always smoke?
Mm-mm.
So you're not that old yet. At least you get variety
Oh,
in the
100%.
cigars.
I'm definitely painting myself with a poor brush here, but so blah, 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 what were we talking about? I got sidetracked.
Getting old.
Oh yeah, that. So no, I never smoked the same cigar more than once or twice.
Oh.
Because I'm always having to I'm finding stuff for you guys. And that's why, like, I feel bad. Sometimes people send me cigars and I'm like, when am I gonna smoke this thing? Like, it's crazy. I'll smoke them when I'm retired, you know, when I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
You know, when some law comes down and we can't do this anymore or something like that, then I'll smoke. So if that happens, then I'll smoke all those cigars and I'll remember all you guys while I do it. So
when it comes to smoking cigars, are you a homebody there as well, or do you like going out to the lounge? You don't like going out to the lounge.
I hate sitting in a smoky room.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I love brick and mortars, and without brick and mortars, I think cigar culture will die. Okay, so we got to keep them alive, which is why we did that LCA thing.
Yeah.
But me personally, I smoke outdoors. That's impossible to do for someone that lives in Minneapolis. You know, you have a private club, you know, or a club or whatever. If I lived in a place like that, I would definitely have like a private club or something, and I would be concerned about the air quality in there. I'd make sure we had air filters, and I'm trying to do something in the studio now where it's like I have 2 fans, but it's not really doing much. So I'm gonna add some air purifiers, see what happens with that. But I'm big on that. You know, I think, listen, it's a health. It's not an unhealthy habit if you're not breathing in secondhand smoke, because we don't inhale. And that's another thing like that I definitely need to, I keep forgetting to talk about on Spirited Smoke, is like most people that don't smoke, they think we're inhaling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's why it gets a bad rap. Well, this isn't smoking. I'm not inhaling this. We're also going to do an episode on health. You'll find that I already know, just from the preliminary studying that we've done, you're going to find that alcohol is so much more dangerous than smoking a cigar. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just the fall down. People fall down from drinking. Not even a lot necessarily, especially as you get older. Your mobility, you slip, twitch, you break your neck or what. I mean, people die from this stuff. So no one's dying smoking a cigar. And I've had members that have canceled due to health issues, and I always find out it's probably obesity or a heart issue that has nothing really to do with cigars.
There is a health guru, David Avocado Wolf, and he's got millions of followers. He's like this holistic healer, and he promotes cigar smoking. He says a natural tobacco has absolutely no bad.
Wow.
He said the DNA of the tobacco, it actually has health benefits. And he grows his own tobacco and does his own farm rolled
Wow,
cigars.
that's cool.
Yeah, so I
we
would
gotta
love
hang
to
out with him one
interview
day.
with- yeah, and he's this wild guy.
Yeah,
you know.
I bet
he's
the cigars aren't that great though.
probably not. I mean, like, this tastes like avocado, man.
Yeah.
It tastes like
Let me
hummus.
Try this.
What is this shit?
We'll get them in the club.
Do you have a bucket list of people that you want to work with that you just haven't been able to, or things that you want to do that you haven't been able to do yet?
I definitely want to. So, okay, the real question that I didn't answer, and I'll come back to this, was the event thing.
Yeah.
So I was going to do an event, and it was kind of just out of pressure from the members, because again, like I was going to try to do it maybe somewhere close, but also somewhere that would have some cultural benefit to it. Tampa would be perfect for that, you know, Cigar City, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I'm not going to make everyone come to Orlando because there's not necessarily a huge, you know, history here. But then there's also Vegas. There's the cities that I love: New Orleans, big NOLA guy. I like Nashville a bit. I like Louisville, and I think Louisville would be great, but it's not. You can't smoke there.
Oh,
It's the smoking's been banned, but they go on like the other side of the river in Indiana. It's like a 2-minute drive. There's a really cool shop. Anyway, so the thing with the events is I would love to, but I get anxiety over that stuff. That was part of the reason why I stopped doing music too. I hated doing shows, and you have to do shows nowadays. I thought that I was gonna like write this hit record and like put it out and like, you know, it would sell 1 million copies and like, you know, I'd be good. But no, like with the MP3 and the death of CD sales, like you have to tour, and it's a nightmare. It is the hardest job in the world. Don't think that those people are having this, you know, David Lee Roth style party every night. Like it's not. It's fucked up. So yeah, so that gives me a little bit of anxiety. Like I gotta think about, then I gotta plan it, and then that might take away from the club. So an event's possible, but honestly, if I was gonna do an event, I'd probably hire someone or use, you know, someone in my staff now to really plan this thing. I'd be pretty hands off. I would just have a list of I need these things to happen, and then you guys do the rest. You know what I mean?
Tell me what time to show up.
Yeah, I don't want to say like that sounds like I'm not putting like I'm just saying like this is what I'd like it to look like.
Yeah.
Now you guys go negotiate and do all that
you
stuff.
handle the actual
Yeah.
cigars, the club, they handle the event.
Correct.
So you mentioned a staff. You started Privada just as you.
Me and my wife,
You and your wife.
Mhm.
How big of a staff do you have with you now?
9 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find that you're going to outgrow that amount of staff?
We hire a new person every month or 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's it pay?
I pay pretty well. I pay pretty well.
We'll talk.
Yeah. But yeah, we hire a new person like every month or 2. I hired 2 people this month. You know why? Because, look, I already had money, you know, and I'm not bragging, but I already had money. I lived, I think, what most people would say is a very nice American dream lifestyle. You know, touching 6 figures, everything's kind of paid for, that kind of thing. I bought my house before this club blew up, you know. So to me, this wasn't supposed to be some big cash cow. I can't believe that it's become what it's become, but I'm thrilled about it, and we're gonna keep, you know, riding this wave. So I guess what I'm saying here is, I'd rather make a little less and have my employees happy, and like get to a point during the day where they're like, I don't have anything else to do. But it's okay. Did you master that thing that you're doing? You know, is everything taken care of? You know, is everything humidified? Is everything squared away? You know, is every shipment going where it needs to go the day the order comes in? You know, like we don't play around. Like 2-3 days tops. Like that's when it's like super busy, and we had some sale that like went nuts. Like the order might be 2-3 days out, but normally it's the same days.
See, I know a lot of people that belong to Privada, yeah, they care a lot about the cigars, but everyone mentions you, and I think a lot of people are interested in like the actual, what makes the man behind the club tick, and what makes the club what it is.
Yeah.
The cigars, but there's something with Privada that it's more than just the cigars at this point. Just like
It is.
Ed,
Community.
you know, a
Ed
guy that I've
Galinsky.
never met in person.
Great guy.
who
What up,
lives-
Ed?
What's up, Ed? Lives across the country. He's the first person that, you know, a year ago
He
introduced me to Privada.
he introduced me to you. He was like, you gotta see
Ed
this
is
girl
the man of-
smokini. I'm gonna get her to smoke one of your cigars on Instagram.
Ed is a man of many connections, but that's, you know, the
Great guy.
The social aspect of Privada and cigars in general is a huge part of people.
It's a
especially
community.
Me finding a lot of the brands, because I didn't grow up around boutique brands. I didn't grow up around, you know, American-owned, you know, or American distributed brands. I grew up around Cubans. So it wasn't until I got involved in cigar local community that I found out there was a whole like different aspect
Yeah.
of cigars, and Privada.
We're the
is-
sneakerheads of cigars. We're the cigar heads.
Yeah.
Used to
The
be called cigar
cigar
nerds. I call it cigar heads. Cigar nerd is not typically a nice guy. He potentially, you know, knows a lot more than you, and is
Oh.
very apt to tell you how much more he knows than you. So to me, the cigar nerd is it's not a negative connotation. I always call myself a cigar nerd, but I think on the last Boveda interview that I did, we were like, no, we're gonna call it cigar heads.
Cigar heads. Okay.
Yeah. So cigar heads are friendly, and that's one thing. And you know, the community thing, man. Honestly, like, that's the part that blows me away. Not that this thing became successful. It blows me away because it's cool. You get 3 rare limited cigars. You can't get them anywhere else. It makes sense. You want that, right? Mm-hmm. But the community, and like, that's the thing. Like, sometimes, like, I get emotional when I read people's emails. I'm like, I can't believe, like, I'm involved in this. And like, I always thought that maybe I had like not a negative outlook on myself, but I always felt a little, I'm an only child. I wanted to be a rock star my whole life. I always felt like, you know, and I did always feel like the music thing, like I was trying to help the world through my music or something like that. Okay, I think probably a lot of musicians feel that way. And so I guess that's a good, you know, a positive aspect. And I'm very good to people in my personal dealings. Mm-hmm. But I never imagined being someone that helped create a community like this. And so a lot of people come to me, even Clark, sometimes we talk and he's like, we got to get our Twitter game up. We got to do that. And I'm like, no. If you think that I built this social media thing, think again. If I was this good, I'd be selling, you know, private jets or something. You know, I'd sell 2 a year and make 10 times more than I make now, right? So like, no, you guys created this. The members created this. You guys sharing all this stuff created this. I'm just like this keystone that, you know, I don't even know if you took me out of it, if it would collapse. But I guess that's what a keystone is. It's like the one stone in a structure that like you take. So, but I'm like this mascot, you know, and I think I definitely helped create that culture. Once I saw it, I was like, wow, like these people aren't just customers, they're friends. Like they're my people now, you know, and then I go out of my way to take care of them every single month. Like, I never put dollar values on these cigars. Some guys sell their stuff for way too low and it should be sold for double or triple the price. Okay? Yeah, so let me start there. So I never put a dollar amount on what's in the club. Because you can get cigars in there that are, I mean, I might mention it once in a while, hey, this is a $30 cigar, by the way. We're lucky to have it, kind of thing. But I never put a value on it. And I think a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, you're giving these guys a bargain, but this is not a bargain club. There's been tons of other bargain clubs, 5 cigars for, you know, $25. They're banded cigars. They're, you know, that's not what this is, you know. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm very proud of that aspect, but that's not something that I was just like, oh yeah, I'm a great marketer and I'm going to create this, you know, community of people. I didn't even want to put my name on it. Like, I did my first live thing with Cigar Aficionado. Cigar Obsession. I did like a live, and like our membership doubled overnight. And I was like, okay, I guess they want a face to the notes. You know, they know me through the notes, but I guess they want a face to this. And so I started doing that. And the more I gave them, the more they gave me. And it's just this exchange of energy, love, passion, whatever for cigars. And it's all cigar based. And the thing that's great about cigars is, man, you could be black, white, Spanish, it doesn't matter. And I feel like my cigar smokers are not racist. They're not prejudiced. They're guys that'll sit down with a Muslim, a black guy, a Jewish guy. They don't care. Cigars bring people together, you know. So it's a community that I think was waiting to happen, and I'm just lucky, you know, to be involved in it. And I'll do everything I can to keep cultivating that, because I think that that's what will create this renaissance in cigars. Back to the shipping thing though, we hire so much because I'd rather my employees be happy, because that comes out in the product. It does. You can tell when you get a package from a company that treats its employees like shit in any industry. You know what I'm saying? When they're overworked, they're stressed, they're tired, like it shows up. There's tons of mistakes. Not that we never make mistakes, but we make it right. Like, the best thing that could happen to you is we could make a mistake. Because if I find out that we made a mistake, like, you get the whole, you know, it's whatever. I don't want to, but like, I go out of my way to compensate that, and no one's ever taken advantage of that. And I think that speaks a lot about the members.
Now, not everybody gets the exact same package. How do you pick what cigars goes to
So
whom?
this has been a little bit of a drama question, okay? A lot of
Bring in the
people,
drama.
a lot of people on the Facebook group are like, "Why are you making me fill out a quiz if you're just going to give me the same things?" And I think we're starting to find out that I can't always give you the same things every month. Definitely for the next few months, you won't all always get the same things. We've seen some growth. We've, found some things that are so rare that I need to share them with as many of you as I can, but I can't get one for everyone. So I've made up for it with other rare stuff. That flavor thing I used to put like in a category, and we still kind of do. Mm-hmm. And so I'll use that in months where, I can't get everyone the same thing. Would we be the same club without it? Yeah, probably. But I'm still glad to know, like, if someone likes spicy food and someone doesn't, like, I know, don't give them the full body, Nicaraguan if I can give them, a smoother Dominican that month. You know what I mean?
Have you had people who are Privada members fill out that and they stay in the club for a couple months and maybe they try things that are a little outside of their flavor profile? Do they email you and say, hey, before then I thought I didn't like this kind of stuff. I tried it. I love it. I want more?
Every day. And they refill out. We have some guys, and I have it set up to a filter now to where, like, it's okay. You can fill out the form as many times as you'd like, but we have people that do it every week.
Oh, wow.
They just, I don't know, they want Privada stuff. They get on the website, they start filling out forms and buying stuff and doing fun stuff, and that's cool. I may even add to that. I'm getting an idea right now. Maybe I'll add to that and do some other quick questionnaires and quizzes and stuff just to keep us busy, And especially during quarantine, this has been the number one source of entertainment for me. I used to smoke a cigar or two a day. I'm up to a little bit more than that now.
Nothing else to do. You're stuck
When I laugh like that and I start getting fluid up, then I'll slow down. But so far, I'm pretty healthy. I still run and stuff,
Yeah. So you work with Caldwell a bit. And, of course, Caldwell has his own rare offerings through Lost and Found, yet he still pairs with you to distribute through Privada. So clearly there's a benefit to manufacturers as well.
Oh, the benefit to manufacturers is unbelievable. And, one thing that I always did think about, and this was me thinking less community-based, because, again, I didn't know what this was going to be like, was I thought about that this would become a marketing tool for manufacturers, which it has become. We've taken brands out of the grave, literally. I mean, Paul Stulak, one of the club's favorites. The guy's fucking amazing. His stuff is amazing. No one knew about him. A member told me about this guy named Paul Stulak. I looked him up. I found him. He called me up from Canada. Super cool dude. It's one of my favorite people in this industry. And he was like, yeah, man, I'll make you whatever you want. And so he made us the Red Screaming Suns. What a cigar that is. That's one of my favorite cigars. And everything he's given us has been absolutely amazing. And he's like, he thanks me. He sent me 10 pounds, 8 lobsters from Nova Scotia 2 weeks ago. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My wife was like, they're alive. It was freaky. But it was amazing. And thank you, Paul. And so, he's like, you brought me back from, I was done, and so we've done that with a couple of brands. I know Padilla's he will never admit it, but I know he benefited from the club. I love his stuff. Mm-hmm. I also, the things that I think people didn't like about him are the things that I actually really like about him. He switches factories all the time. It's probably hard to work with. Yeah, not that hard to work with, but he switches factories all the time. He was over here with this guy, and there's this whole story to it. There's chapters in his story, and that's really cool too, because it adds chapters to the story. It gives you more background, and you can compare and stuff. And so, there's tons of brands like that, and even Matt Booth, who lent me part of his notoriety by being in the club when no one else would even talk to me, I'd like to think that we're paying him back too, both in business and in community. I think a lot of our people I think that a lot of them were already fans of Matt Booth, but I think we've helped grow that too, because he's a guy that should have some light on him.
So Paul Stulak, he blended a cigar specifically for you. How many of the cigars that come through are blended specifically for you, and how much are just kind of like small batch distribution?
I would say, see, that all depends. That all depends. So one thing that I realized in January when I had my heart broken a little bit is I put out in the same box, I put out something called the Uncle Paulie's Deli, which we did a collaboration with John Buscemi. He's a clothing designer, sneaker designer, sells his sneakers for $1,000 a piece, and he's killing it, okay? Shout out to John Buscemi, what's up? And he has a deli with his cousin Paulie, and they were like New York guys living in LA, and they're like, you can't get a good sandwich out here, so they made this cool deli. It's so dope. It's very cool. It looked, the logo, they had the phone number on the band and everything. So we did that. Hochi Blanco made that. And then we did a deal with J.C. Newman, and we did a broadleaf cigar called The Good Life, which is turning out to be my bestseller. Yeah. I mean, everyone wants this thing. I'm going to have to make another run of them soon. So I put out these cigars, and on Spirited Smoke, a couple of very vocal members were like, I'm going to quit Privada. And I was like, why? And they were like, because you're giving me house blend shit now. And I'm like, I just couldn't understand that. And it took me a few days. And that's why it's very important, if you're going to be someone that grows a business, that you be very, very global in your thinking and be very self-aware and be able to be someone who can, get into an argument with someone, believe that you're right, but still try to see their opinion, try to see their point of view, and then try to see other points of view of other people that would be involved. And so I had to do that. I did a little bit of soul searching, and I understand what they were saying. And I don't want to be a house blend company. So you're not going to see that many cigars that just have the Privada Cigar Club name on it. You'll see one here and there, maybe one every 6 months. The blends that we're getting from companies are made exclusively for us, probably 30 to 40% of the time, okay? And then they go on to make them and put them out, which I think is really cool too, because it speaks volumes about what we do as marketing for these brands. We really big them up and shout them out. And then they get to create whole new lines like this Idalia 108 from Blackbird. They're gonna put that out. It's a great cigar. They made it specifically for us. I talk to these people. I'm like, dude, tell me about why'd you get into cigars? And he's like, I don't know. I'm Dominican, and that's just like what we do. And I was like, no, but come on, man. Like, tell me about your childhood. With how'd you first start noticing cigars? He goes, oh, you know what? My grandmother. We call her my grandmother. She raised us. She smoked a cigar every day. She grew her own tobacco, rolled her own cigar. She smoked a cigar every day, and she lived to be 108 years old. And I was like, oh, what was her name? And he was like, Idalia. And I was, a beautiful name. That's what we're gonna call the next cigar, the Idalia 108. And so we put out this cigar, and now he's super proud of it because it's like, so that's the kind of thing that I pull out of these people. And then I think just having a third party involved in the process, like, 2 heads are better than 1, 3 heads are better than 2. Like, his head, blender gives him something, and he goes, yeah, I like it. And then maybe he gives it to his brother. Well, now he's got to give it to me, and I'm smoking everyone else's stuff, so I know where it lands, okay? Not that I'm like, whatever. You could say whatever you want, but I think I have a great palate, okay? And I'm able to tell, okay, this is unique, this is different, this is going to do really well. And so it's this whole nother layer of quality control in the design process, if you will. It's like if you're a race car team and you're building race cars, but you don't have a race car driver driving it around the track, like, that guy telling you, no, the clutch is right, the wrapper was great, don't, they give me 3 different varieties, light, dark, medium, or, a Maduro Oscuro versus a Maduro San Andreas, and I try them all, and I'm like, no, go with this one. And so.
Do you have any cigars that you released through Privada, on your palate it was a killer cigar, but then people got it and it didn't do as well as you thought, or vice versa? One that you thought was good, You know, I'm sure you like everything you send out. We thought it was good, but it performed above and beyond what you were expecting.
Hell yeah. Happens every month. Happens every month. I'm not gonna name cigars because I don't want to get called out on it, right? And like I have relationships, and then it might also make me look like I'm not so good at what I do. But like, there's been cigars where I'm like, there's also been cases where I've been like, yeah, this is the cigar, and then they send it to me. I get it 90 days later. You see, like, we're smoking. These are straight from the farm, so like I have to keep relighting and stuff. They're still a little wet. So just understand this. By the time you get a cigar from Privada, most companies will age a cigar like a Maduro 90 days, then they'll box it, ship it out. It goes into stores. You probably get that cigar around the 120 days or something like that, so 4 months. By the time you get stuff with Privada, it could be a year later. You know, they've been resting a long time, and it's because we have so much in production and so much, which is great. Also kind of sucks too, though, because it's like, you know, Dion Giolito from Illusione, guy's a perfectionist, made us an exclusive cigar. I made one for everyone in the club. Well, the club's 30% bigger now, so now not everyone's gonna get it, and it took him a year to make it. He like sent batches back, like the guy's like out of control. So, you know, there's that too. But yes, to answer your question, yes, I'm surprised every month. My palate is not the same exact palate as the club. And there's a couple of smokers in the club that email me, and I know like we're on the same page palate-wise, but I'm not here just to give you the cigars that I like. I also have to keep in mind what I think the members are gonna like. And so I think at this point I can pretty much predict some things, but there are cigars that surprise me, 100%, every month. Yeah.
Do you have a say in the blending of some of the cigars?
To the degree of yes and no. I didn't like this. Well, why didn't you like it? Well, honestly, I feel like there's been yes. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I do help blend the cigars. I'm not no master blender. I don't roll cigars. I'll never dub myself some master blender, but yeah, no, I do. I do, because who else has all this market research? Who else has all this market data? I'm emailing people 3-4 hours a day. Did you hear me? Like, I'm literally taking feedback 3-4 hours a day. There's no company in this industry that has that kind of data research, market research, to know in general what mostly American, you know, we're mostly an American club. We have international too, but you know what these guys want. I know what they want. So I can pretty much tell you up front whether people are gonna like it or not. But yeah, Cookie Monster surprised the F out of me. There's one I don't mind talking about. Oh my God. I smoked it, I liked it. Then the shipment comes, and that's where my insecurity starts. Because I'll pull one out of the box now that they're all finally here, and I smoke it, and I'm, oh no, maybe I fucked up. And there's a lot of times where the box goes out in the beginning of the month, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I screwed up. And that was the thing that broke my heart about that January box, because I was like,
Killer.
like slam tomahawk dunk. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, exactly. All that shit. Yeah.
So the one that we didn't hit on that he was asking about was your partnership with Foursquare Rum.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a partnership it is. I really wanted to help them out because at the time I was going through a rum phase, and I found them, and they are the most unique rum. You almost can't even call it rum. It's some sort of island, dare I say, bourbon or whiskey. It's very whiskey related. It's totally different. And he is someone that's trying to do with rum what I'm trying to do with cigars. Richard Seal, very outspoken. And he's experimenting and using traditional and new ways, and I mean his stuff is absolutely amazing. It's fire. But yeah, so as much of a partnership as that is, they sent me stuff, and I kind of tried to put it out there, and I've seen a lot of people buy it, but I would like to partner with some spirit companies and maybe even beer company, to try to like push this thing even further.
So looking forward, where do you see the path of Privada taking you? Where does it go from here?
Yeah, I don't really know, and I think it'd be pretty egocentric of me to call it, because I couldn't have predicted this. So I can tell you that the Limited Cigar Association is the next chapter, which is where I've always said that Privada was good for brick and mortars, good for cigar culture, and without brick and mortars, cigar culture is going to have a big problem. And so I always said we were good for brick and mortars because we gave you 3 cigars, you discovered new brands, and if you liked them, you'd go to your local shop and try to get other things from them. We just launched the shop about 3 months ago, which thank you all for the support. I wanted to make you listen, if you're coming to Privada, you shouldn't have to log off and go on to some other guy's shop to get your regular stuff. So now it's a one-stop shop. So then I was like, that kind of makes me a hypocrite because I've always said we were good for brick and mortar. So how are we good for brick and mortar if we're giving them their regular production stuff? So what I decided was I would take the cigars that really get hype, like Cookie Monster, Death Bucket, all right, these kind of cigars that people wrote about and all this stuff. And what I would do is make limited runs of it and not sell it on Privada and distribute it to 300 stores across the country. And then not only do that, not only give them the product, but also advertise to all my people that live near them, hey, this shop has it. They're gone. I mean, they get 150 cigars a month, 200 cigars a month. They're gone the same day, next day. If you display them and you tell me, hey, they're for sale, we put out a little message to our people in that zip code area, and we're like, hey, go in there, they have these. And they go in and buy them. And so it's good for them. And guess what? A lot of these guys weren't going to those shops, and now they are. So I do feel like that's going to be something that really grows. And then I can do events. I can do events locally. I can do, I could just be there, a talking head on the computer screen or TV screen live, and all the Privada members locally can be there. And then I'm not going to give away my ideas because people will take these ideas, but I have like so many ideas of what we can do with this network. It's going to be huge. I hope, God willing.
That's awesome. I like that idea. I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down and interviewing with us. You guys, if you're not members of Privada, please go check it out. Kim and I are both paying members. If you are a cigar head, Privada is the place for you.
Love it. Thank you. And thanks to all the members for all the support and all the emails and all the direct messages and all the Instagram posts and the YouTube comments. I really, really appreciate it. And you guys know it's an open feedback loop. Like if I ever, get ahead of myself or start doing things that you don't like or that you do like, you email me and tell me which direction you guys guide me along. So, peace.